Hey, what's up, Stay Tuners? It's your good friend Jimbo here, letting you know that today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. I recently joined as a member and you can too. Apply today and let them know that you heard from Stay Tuned Sports and you start earning today. That's podgo.co at podgo.co.
You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, back again, like every week. Talking all kinds of sports news and firings. Yep, Doug Pederson, gone. Howie Roseman, still there. Don't know how. I mean, we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Head over to staytunesports.net for our social media accounts, which is on the right-hand side there, as well as all past episodes, all the way back to episode 1 with me and King, and the episodes with Shoulders, O'Brien. If you ever get bored or you're in quarantine or whatnot. But also up top is the merch tab, and we have just added a new t-shirt with the 2021 Stay Tuned Sports logo, the new updated logo. Our good buddy King actually made 2 extra logos, so I'm gonna make kind of going with the NHL retro alternate jerseys. Well, we're gonna kind of go with a 2021 alternate logo, so I'm gonna be working on them this weekend to add them to the store as well. And eventually gonna get some hoodies put on there and some hats, but just want to get some t-shirts on there for you guys. So, and not too expensive. I think the one I just made last night is like $15 or so. So, yeah, last night was the Alabama Ohio State National Championship game, if you want to call it a game. I just want to touch on this just a little bit because I mean, again, we all knew Alabama was going to win. We all knew they were going to blow out Ohio State, except for the Ohio State fans, and kudos for them for believing in that, that wasn't going to happen. But truth be told, Alabama made them their bitch, just like Cleveland Browns made the Steelers their bitch in the first half. That game was insane. But I just want to touch on the Ohio State game because, going into the playoffs, a lot of people thought Texas A&M should have been in there over Notre Dame with Ohio State number 3, Clemson, Bama 1-2. Now, I understand, hindsight, 2020, all whatever that phrase is, that saying that, it's easy just to look back now. But a lot of people said Notre Dame shouldn't be in there. Had no place to be in there. Then when they played Alabama, yes, we did get blown out. We did get bashed all over the place, 31-14. But, and I've been beating this drum for months since the beginning of the season that Ohio State should not be eligible to play in the playoffs. And I think this game showed it. I mean, they only played 5 games. Didn't really play anybody. Had a hard time with Northwestern in their conference game. Yes, they beat Clemson, but Notre Dame beat Clemson too. I don't want to hear about the whole Trevor Lawrence wasn't there or we were missing defensive players. That should fall on Dabo Swinney then to not have next man up mentality type thing going through his team. So you look at last night's game with Alabama beating Ohio State 52-24. So not only did Notre Dame hold Alabama to less points, but also didn't lose as bad as Ohio State. And the other thing too is Heisman winner Devontae Devontae Smith, yes, he had a big game against us. 7 catches, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's a game not to forget. But look at last night. He had 12 catches for 200 plus yards in the first half. And it probably would have been more if he didn't have that hand injury in the second half. So if anything, and I've been saying this too, that Ohio State should not have been in there. It should have been Texas A&M or even Cincinnati at 4, Notre Dame at 3, Clemson 2, Bama 1. And I think if behind the scenes with the voters, they were worried about money, the money game would have been Clemson versus Notre Dame, the trilogy. Put that at 8 o'clock at night, and you would have made tons of money. A lot of viewership. But it is what it is. I'm proud of Notre Dame. Talked a little bit about it last week with Brian Kelly, what we should do, and on to next year. This past weekend kicked off the wild card games for the NFL, and the Bears and Saints game was being aired on Nickelodeon. Now I believe, not totally sure, the Super Bowl is also going to be aired on Nickelodeon, as well as NBC. I forget what channel actually has it this year. So I want to see how it is, because the whole thinking going into it was, for the NFL, was to relate more to the kids than the adults by putting it on Nickelodeon. Now, granted, I only lasted a 1 quarter because of the commentators, but I understood. They had Nate Burleson as a color commentator there, as well as some of the Nickelodeon actors being, quote, sideline reporters. Some of the phrases, Nate Burleson, you could tell they were really aiming towards the kids. Like, I think the one part I caught was, I forget which team got first down, and the chain gang was moving, and he made the statement. Now, you see those orange poles, that is someone actually moving those poles. That is actually their job to make sure of how far they have to go to get a first down. Or he was comparing some of them to like quizzes and tests. Like, when you get into the red zone, that's like your quiz. And when you get into the end zone, that's like you acing that quiz. So there was some interesting phrasing going on there. And then I was curious to see if there's going to be a type of slime and stuff like that. And even though I was not interested in it, I thought it was kind of cool that every time a touchdown would happen, the orange pylons would shoot off orange ooze, green ooze, graphics, not actual ooze. But I could see where the NFL was going with it. And, possibly, if I had kids that were like 4 or 5 years old, I would probably sit down with them, and I think they would be interested to watch it. But since my kids are older, there's no way I could last a whole game. Like I said, I had to turn it off about a quarter into it and had to go back to regular commentators and listen to it that way. Now, I don't think this could be an every week thing. I think, once every 4 weeks, or if you want to do one playoff game a year, that'd be fine. But I think it will get really bad and annoying if you start putting games on Nickelodeon. I know they won't ever go away from NBC and Fox and all them, because that's where their money is, but don't oversaturate it. We know what you're trying to do, and it's cool to try to get the younger viewers involved. Just stick to minimal amount of games, and I think you guys will be just fine getting younger guys and gals into watching the games. This past weekend, Got to sit down and watch the Baltimore Ravens with my oldest, who's a Ravens fan. Looking to win their first playoff game with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. They didn't win last year. And they pulled it off. They pulled off the win against Tennessee Titans. And there's a little bit of an uproar of how the game ended, as far as Marcus Peters intercepting the ball to pretty much close out the game, but ran out to the Tennessee Titans logo with about 12, 13 other players, defensive players, who stomped on the logo and, did all that stuff. And a lot of people thought that was disrespectful. Well, my thing is, why wasn't anything said when Tennessee did to Baltimore earlier in the year? I don't think it was disrespectful. If Tennessee didn't do it earlier in the year, then okay, maybe. But still, no harm, no foul to me. I really did think there was going to be a big brawl, because it may have been just the way the Titans players were coming out to play defense, but it looked like they were all coming out to the logo to get them off the logo. But I really didn't think it was disrespectful. Now, what I did think was disrespectful was Lamar Jackson, after the game got done, didn't shake any of the Tennessee players' hands, and was even caught waving the Ravens players to not shake their hands and come on, get off the field. Here's the problem, and I have with it. Totally understand your rivals from quarter 1 to quarter 4. But after that fourth quarter ends, or overtime, you're back to being friends or colleagues, if you want to call it that, because when time comes and you guys gotta talk about your CBA contract stuff, you guys gotta stand united if you want more money or more of the TV deals, stuff like that. Leave the rivalry shit go on between first quarter and fourth quarter. After the game's over, shake hands, congratulate each other. That's why I can't understand with Tom Brady. He will shake everybody else's hand, but not Nick Foles. Faced him twice this past year. Did not shake his hands. Or I'm sorry, no, he played him this year. Didn't shake his hands. Didn't shake his hand in the Super Bowl when he lost. That to me is just a sore loser. You're taught at Pee Wee football or T-ball or whatever camp, when you're a kid has basketball. Game's over, you shake the other team's hand. You congratulate them. Good guy. Good game. This whole, they disrespected us. That's why you beat the shit out of them between first quarter and the fourth quarter. Game's over, shake hands, bury the hatchet. Till next year, then start all over again. I mean, obviously rivalries make the best games, and I'm sure this is a new rivalry between Tennessee and Baltimore. But don't try to say, "Oh, I'm being the bigger man." Shake the team's hands. Came out Sunday that Jeffrey Lurie and Doug Pederson was going to have another meeting on Monday to discuss his future, and it was on shaky grounds. Needless to say, Doug Pederson got fired. I've been saying that since the last game of the season, when it started to come out that some players did not know about the whole Hurts was going to get benched at some point, so Sudfeld could get snaps. It just sounded like he lost the locker room, and I think that's where the hammer came down. I think that was the last nail in the coffin for him. Now, obviously, rumors are coming out saying, Pederson got fired because he got tired of being told what to do and who to hire and who to give promotions to. But yet, somehow, Howie Roseman still has a job. And I just don't know how. I mean, he must have some blackmail type shit on Jeffrey Lurie. Because this will be his third head coach he's going to hire since he's been GM. His drafting sucks. Even though the rumors are coming out that Howie Roseman only took Rager because Pederson wanted him and Pederson's staff. But Howie and the scouting team wanted Jefferson. Oh, you say that now because Jefferson broke the rookie record. Okay. Well, what was the reasoning for J.J. Target-Whiteside over DK Metcalf? You're saying, was that Pederson too? It's a shame that they're pretty much using Pederson as the scapegoat for last season. I mean, here's a guy who brought a Super Bowl not 10 years ago, just 3 years ago. First one in our franchise history. Has made the playoffs every year except for his first year and last year. Has a winning record. I forget exactly what it is, but he's like 5 or 6 games over 500. He, the past 2 years, had to use a broken team. And when I say broken, I mean the injuries just murdered our starters. This year, through 16 games, he had used 13 different offensive line combination. So that front office set him up for failure. Now, was it the right move? Unfortunately, I would have to say yes, just because I said some of the players, like Miles Sanders, came out and said he did not know about Sudfeld getting some playing time. But Jason Kelce coming out and saying the whole team knew. It's almost like the older vets had Pederson's back. The younger guys may have wanted a fresh look to the coaching staff. Maybe, some of them were lying just to get that, just to get him out of there. But I think if Pederson didn't bench Hurts, I don't think we would be talking about him being fired. I think it would be the other way around. I think Howie Roseman would be the one out. And with Pederson being gone now, and I think this is something else that probably weighed on Jeffrey Lurie's mind, is it's easier to get rid of Pederson than it is to get rid of Carson's contract. Which, again, is funny because Pederson didn't give that contract. Howie did. And with Pederson being gone now, 2 days, Howie's still having a job. He's going to be around this year. He's going to be drafting. And I'll tell you what, if Devontae Smith is there and he doesn't take him, that city will burn. That city will burn, and probably any other cities that have Philadelphia fans in them will burn. If he does not take Devontae Smith, you don't have to be smart to see what this kid could do. If Howie does not take him, he needs to be fired on the spot. Now, also, the other thing about this, too, is who wants this job now? Whatever candidate, whatever coach comes in, you're going to have, granted, some of the vets' contracts are up at the new year, so a lot of them are going to be gone, but you're projected to be $70 million over the cap. Okay, you got the 6th overall draft pick, fine. You got a quarterback controversy right now, so you gotta get rid of one of them. And I hate to say it, they need to get rid of the statue. They put that up way too early. Yes, I mean, Philly Special will forever be the famous play in Philadelphia history, sports history. But when they put that up, even if Carson Wentz comes back, he's still going to have to walk past that statue seeing the shadow that he has to step out from at some point. Now, Jalen Hurts, we wasted a 2nd round draft pick on him. Can we get a 2nd round draft pick for him? I think we still could. but how he played the last 2 games, I think, hurt our chances of getting a first-round draft pick. And, I mean, really, I don't know what team would trade for him, because you figure the Jaguars are taking Trevor Lawrence. Jets are going to take probably Justin Fields from Ohio State. And I'm not really sure what the draft order is just yet. And probably when the draft gets closer, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But you have to trade one of them. You can't have both of them in the same room, because you're going to feel that awkwardness, no tension, because you heard from both of them say both have helped each other out when the other one was on the bench. If you're going to go with Wentz, he has to have some type of input when it comes to a coach. If he's your franchise quarterback and you're going to stick with it, you got to get somebody that he's comfortable with, that he's okay with, and make sure the coach is okay and comfortable with him. Now, I saw 2 candidates. The one was Lincoln Riley, and that's just not happening. I mean, and I really hope Philly learned their lesson with Chip Kelly. When was the last time a college coach came to the NFL and was successful for the long haul? Very rare. Very rare. And he's going to be asking for a lot of money, too. And I just don't think it's the right fit for him. Plus, Howie Roseman's making all the calls. So, yeah, you could say, hey, I want you to trade for Julio Jones. At the end of the day, Howie has the say-so to say yes or no. The 2 candidates that I saw Tim McManus talk about on ESPN is from Andy Reid's coaching tree. Since Andy Reid and Jeffrey Lurie is still very close, talk a lot. And that's Eric Bieniemy, their offense coordinator, and Mike Kafka, their quarterbacks coach. I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Bieniemy. I mean, he was up for a head coaching job this past 2 years, I believe. And he's going to be a head coach this year. There's no way teams pass up on him a 3rd straight time. To see what he does with that offense the past couple of years, it'd be very interesting to see what he could do with our team. Mike Kafka. My problem with it is he's a quarterback's coach. I think we need somebody that has experience at almost the highest position, other than a head coach. And I've been beating this drum for about 2 years now. I want to see Deuce Staley. I think Deuce Staley deserves a shot at being a head coach. And I'm surprised, and kind of made me smile a little bit, seeing players actually come out on Twitter and saying he should be head coach. Malcolm Jenkins was nonstop yesterday posting about it, saying he could control a locker room. He's very well spoken. And a good point is, I think I heard up from Sal Palantonio, he's coached in 3 different styles of systems. Coached underneath Andy Reid, coached underneath Chip Kelly, and coached underneath Doug Pederson. So just imagine if he could take a little bit from each of those systems, what he could do. And I think, being that he's a running backs coach, he could bring that balance back. He understands you need balance. I mean, we saw with the Steelers game on Sunday, Big Ben threw for 65 times and lost. Whenever Carson Wentz throws for more than 35 times a game, most likely they're going to lose. You need balance. It's the one constant in this league is you need balance. Running game is a quarterback's best friend. Running game is a defense's best friend because it allows them a break. And I really think Deuce Staley could do that. And I think Carson would be comfortable with Deuce. Deuce understands Carson. And I just think it would be a very good fit hopefully he would get the job. And like I said, though, he already understands what he'd be walking into if he were to accept a job compared to Eric Bieniemy or any other coaching candidates. So hopefully, I'm really hoping in the next couple weeks we hear Deuce Staley's name get called to be the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. So last week, I did a special blue picks for the playoffs. Didn't do too well. Went 1-3. Gonna give it another shot this week. This may be the last week for it, since next week will be championship games. So here is this week's blue picks.
4th and 5. Jones steps up, takes off, he's in, touchdown!
3rd down and 3. Jackson has all day, looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races, and he stays on his feet. Touchdown!
And here is your blue picks of the week, brought to you by Skunk Duck Studios, the best ducking designs on the web. That's right. So for the last time, blue picks are our blowout picks, lock picks, and upset picks. Playoffs a little bit different with the upset picks since it's all the top tier teams. Kicking it off for the blowout this week, I got the Chiefs over the Browns. Chiefs are favored by 10. If the Browns would have kept going how they were going in the first half against the Steelers, I may have thought differently about this and made this my upset pick. But you go up by 28 in the first half against the Steelers. Yes, very bad interceptions were thrown by Big Ben. But you got outscored 27-13 in the second half by that same team. You cannot be doing that against the Chiefs, especially Patrick Mahomes. This could get out of hand very quickly. And I would say if the Chiefs go up by 28 in the first quarter, the Browns are just going to collapse and give in. So I got the Chiefs over the Browns for my blowout. My lock pick, I have Green Bay favored by 6.5 over the Rams. You guys know how I feel about the Rams. I don't think they're as good as everybody sometimes makes them out to be. But also the potential of not having Aaron Darnold going up against Aaron Rodgers, who's possibly going to win the MVP this year, is a big loss to the Rams. So I'm going with the Green Bay Packers for my lock. And in my upset, I'm taking Tampa Bay, who's underdogs by 3 over the Saints. The Saints struggled the first half against the Bears, okay? Had a hard time putting points up against the Bears. Now, I understand Tampa Bay's defense isn't as good as the Bears, but Brady's just playing too good right now. Saints defense definitely has some issues, especially going up against that receiving core that Tampa Bay has with Mike Evans, who I believe is playing. I know he hurt his leg last game, but Gronk is playing good. It seems like Gronk and Brady has that connection going again. And I going with the Saints. So blowout is I'm taking the Chiefs. Lock, I'm taking Green Bay. And upset, I am taking Tampa Bay. So that's going to be it for this week. Head over to staytunesports.net for any merchandise, t-shirts. I have a hoodie on there for right now. Our social media accounts, where you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, all that stuff on the right-hand side there, as well as all of our old episodes that you may want to give a listen to. So, till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.